Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2019 film that's just getting its release now, The Parish. This is a horror film that is directed by David S. Hogan and it stars Angela DiMarco, Sene Lutzi and Bill Oberst Jr. Now this film focuses on a mother and daughter. They have lost their husband stroke father. He was in the military and he's killed in action. I think it's Afghanistan. And they decide to move cross country. It's about 1,000 miles cross country and start again, which really upsets the daughter. She's about, I'm not sure, about 10, 11 years old, something like that. When they move and they try and settle into their new home, they both start sharing similar visions, in a sense of the daughter starts building a relationship with a local boy at school, and they both keep seeing like an aging nun and like a phantom caretaker that doesn't exist. She confides in the local priest, played by Bill Oberst Jr., and together they uncover a very dark and sinister past, and both the mother and daughter may be seeing visions of those that have died many years previously. Right, what are my thoughts on The Parish? Well, I actually quite enjoyed this film, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was really nicely put together with some very strong performances. A bit of a slow burn. I think the pacing will possibly put a lot of people off. It doesn't lower itself to like cheap jump scares or anything like that to try and keep you interested. It's actually, I think, a nicely structured and put together film. It's essentially the relationship between the mother and daughter is a strong focal point of the film, and the loss that they are both feeling and the grief of their losing their husband stroke father, and they're both dealing with it in different ways. But they're both sharing the same visions, if you like. Now, I believe their relationship as a mother and daughter. Sometimes that can let it down because maybe the child actor is a little underperforming or something like that. I actually thought the actress that played Audrey, the daughter, does a pretty decent job here. I was a bit unconvinced early on. But it worked. It worked for me as the film went on, and I bought a performance. And what I thought initially was a very emotionless performance actually made sense with what she was going through in regards to losing her father and the experiences she was going through in regards to the visions she was seeing, etc., etc., and the grief she was suffering. So I actually like the dynamic and the performances by both these. The direction was definitely quite impressive at times, in a sense of, it was well lit, well shot. Like I say, it didn't reduce itself to cheap tactics just to get a scare. Sometimes you see these Hollywood films that have got a good horror story at its very core, and someone just nudged the director and says, oh, you need to put a few more scares in this, the audience aren't going to tolerate it. I like the fact that it doesn't pander to its audience here. It's like, the strength of this story will be enough if you stick with us, and they were right, it was. Another good dynamic to this film was Bill Oberst Jr., who's a bit of a horror icon. He's done a lot of horror films over the years, and he kind of plays against type here by playing a priest very convincingly as well. I thought he played a very, very good role and a good performance by him, who kind of supports this family through their grief, and also is the only one really that will listen to her when she realizes something's just not right. And so he listens to her, does a bit of research, and he's the one that kind of uncovers this great mystery sort of thing. For me, I thought what let it down was the ending a little bit. It felt a little bit anticlimactic. It wasn't as frightening as I was hoping it was going to be, the ending, if I'm being honest. I would have preferred the end bit to have gone on a bit longer, be a bit more threatening, You never really felt the characters were at any real threat, A, throughout this film, and B, the ending as well, which was a bit of a letdown for me. You know, you get these ghostly apparitions, if you like, appearing, like, you know, ghostly nuns and things like that, which is done to death. I know it's done to death in movies these days, ghostly nuns and demonic nuns and things like that, but it's quite subtly done here. They don't overdo it, you know what I mean? But other than the odd appearance, you know, the nun going like this, shushing people and that sort of thing, it just didn't feel scary or particularly threatening at any real point in this film. And another thing that really bothered me is when the mother found out from the priest what was actually going on. She was convinced, she was convinced that her daughter had built this friendship with this young boy, and that this caretaker at the school had, you know, was a bit creepy, and that there's this strange nun following them that was employed by the school because it was like one of those religious schools. So she was convinced by all sort of this, you know, and everyone must be mistaken, they have to be real. And then when she finds out the truth, I think she takes it a little bit too well. If someone had told me the things that this priest had told her, I would have been considerably more freaked out than she was. So, you know, that was a bit unbelievable at times. So, yeah, it's a film about faith. It's a film about grief and loss, and with, like, you know, a horror veil thrown over it. It's quite subtle. It's not in your face. It's not cheap. It's a slow burn of a film, but I think quite effective at times. I just wish the ending had been a little bit scarier. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I was suitably impressed with it, and I did enjoy my time watching it. But I think they probably, you know, just cranked it up a little bit, the scares, and we think we could have had potentially a 7, 8, film 8 rating of 7 or 8 out of 10 here if they'd have pushed it a little bit more. But otherwise, it might be worth your time, this one, if it's your sort of horror film. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you liked the review. Of course, I will be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.